What's going on, everybody? Jeff Holiday here again, and welcome to another episode of A Song of Salt and Poo. Now, I had specific intentions for this video, after 2 videos so far, and I believe at this point well over an hour worth of me investigating Jillian and trying to show you how crazy her poop cult is. I found that one more video is just not going to be enough. It's just not. There is so much out there. It's dense and thick. This story is just absolutely out of control. So every time that I think that I'm getting close to the end, something pops back up. Now, to be true to form and to be as open and forthcoming as I possibly can be, I had to finish her book. Or rather, I had to delegate the task of finishing her book to Jeff at the desk. So this video is specifically going to be finishing off what she claims, her manifesto, as it were, and really looking at her belief system inside of this book and how much of a really wild conspiracy theorist she truly is. Now, with that being said, Jeff at the desk, Jeff, what's wrong, man?
I just finished Jillian's book. I just finished it. I got all the way to the end, and it is bad.
Well, I understand, but the platform, it's yours.
All right, well, here we go. Welcome back. It's me, Jeff, at the desk, and today we're finally going to finish off looking at the rest of Jillian's book. And I thought it was bad before, but I had kind of skipped ahead before I put out the last video, and I knew that it was going to get bad, but I had no idea that it was going to get this bad. So, picking up where we left off, we're talking about viruses and how Jillian believes viruses actually interact with the human body, but it's even crazier than that. So check this out. When I educate about viruses being intentionally introduced to the body, some have reported vaccines are one of the many ways viruses and extra fungi are introduced. Who reported that? What are you talking about? Others have reported airborne viruses have been intentionally introduced as well because the body has also been compromised due to the vaccines, and these viruses were able to enter the weakened immune system. So you're saying there's a conspiracy in which viruses are intentionally introduced into people, and one of the many ways is vaccines, which, I mean, that's kind of how vaccines work. A weakened form of a virus, that way you can fight it off and you build up a natural immunity. But then somebody is intentionally trying to spread an airborne virus, and they do that because the immune system is weakened by vaccines. Are you fucking serious? What? Arguably, the medical community will say the DNA and RNA directly or indirectly determine which organs get attacked. I theorize otherwise. Just because? Or... One of the big problems with this book is Jillian will start to make these very wild claims, but there's not a whole lot to back up. There is like a series of links, this mass of weird, incoherent groupings of what I believe she thinks is sources at the end, but none of them have any attribution, and I'll be fucked if I'm going to go through like 60 different links trying to explain like the basics of biology when she herself clearly doesn't understand it at all. However, viruses made up of proteins can be programmed to trigger relative to the DNA sequences and the intention of biotechnology. Viruses made up of proteins can be programmed to trigger relative to DNA sequences and the intention of biotechnology. The fuck is that even supposed to mean? If biotechnology can create drugs to alter body processes when managing symptoms, they can also alter viruses to be programmed any way they see fit. Programmed any way they see fit? No. We can do a lot with genetic engineering. We're nowhere near being able to, like, tailor viruses to anything that we see fit. We're barely starting to see any results in the specific application of this technology in the medical industry at all. This is like sci-fi shit. If a transgender can take hormones to alter their body functions to fit their desires, viruses can be programmed to target these hormones as well. How is that even equivalent? That doesn't make any sense. So because transgenders can take hormones, that is your reasoning why we can have viruses programmed to target those hormones. That doesn't mesh up whatsoever. That doesn't make any sense. Oh my god. Oh, dude, I want to tap out. Toxins and virulent bacteria have their own balanced world cells, organs, and glands. No, they don't. What? Toxins and bacteria have their own balance, world, cells, organs, and glands. Well, yes, bacteria have cells, but bacteria don't have organs and they don't have glands. Bacteria are multicellular life forms. There's not enough cells in a bacteria for it to produce, like, an organ, like a heart. Maybe in some weird rudimentary way you could kind of make that argument, but this is bizarre. And toxins, do you think mustard gas has a liver? You think mustard gas has cells? Nicotine is a toxin. Does nicotine have a gland? Or a world? The body also has its own world imbalance. When too many toxins are introduced to the human body, their mission is to feed and overtake the current system. No. If you get too many toxins in your body, you suffer the toxic effects of having the toxins in your body. There's no mission by toxins. It's not like toxins have, like, a purpose or an intent or an intelligence or even some biological impetus to do something damaging. They just are what they are. This process will conflict with the cells and organs within your body, and that is why the immune system exists, if taken care of properly. Yes, toxins can affect your cells and your organs and that sort of thing, but your immune system is not always going to be a good indicator of how you're able to fight off toxins. Like using what I was just saying before, mustard gas is a toxin. Your immune system isn't going to do shit against mustard gas. Mustard gas is going to hit your body, it's going to fuck you up, and then if you manage to survive, you're probably going to be permanently disabled in some way or another. And the thing that's going to be helping you is not your immune system, it's going to be your body's own capacity to heal. I am now going to introduce a controversial argument regarding how vaccines were used to boost sales. Oh good. Let's go full bore, double barrel on the anti-vax argument, shall we? Let's go ahead. Good sanitation mitigated the propagation of the polio virus, not the vaccine. This has been debunked many, many times. So many goddamn times. I'm not even going to get into it. I'm just going to say citations, links in the description. Check it out for yourself. Maybe I will make an entire separate video just for this because it is commonly stated, and it's bullshit. The polio virus outbreaks in the US or in the West were most likely staged propaganda brought to you by the makers of the vaccines, who injected the virus directly into a certain amount of humans by way of the vaccines to boost sales, and that is why you may have witnessed a few people affected. So let me get this straight. Polio virus outbreaks in the United States are staged propaganda done by the polio vaccine. So are you telling me then that given we have had hundreds and hundreds of years of polio affecting people, all of those cases were because of a vaccine that hadn't been invented yet? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Are you seriously trying to make the argument that the polio virus and the explosion of it and the mass amounts of suffering that so many people experienced and the permanent crippling by thousands and thousands of people, this is all because of a conspiracy put on by the makers of a vaccine? You really believe that? How did I come to this conclusion based on the countless political actions committees questioning the efficacy of vaccines and genetically modified foods? When I first was introduced to the argument, vaccines subvert the natural process of immunity, I took that ball and ran with it because it does make sense. So the whole reason why you believe this is that somebody said that vaccines subvert natural immunity, and you were like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I totally believe that now. No actual thorough research into it. No trying to determine if this is absolutely true. You just ran with it. And you expect people to listen to you for medical advice. Wow. Vaccines just lay the ticking time bomb, and vaccines rely on horrible gut health to pass those diseases on to the next generation. Go on. This is why some people react adversely to the vaccine right away, and why others feel fine. It is truly the vaccine lotto. If everyone got sick from the vaccine right away, it would be a hard sell to the population. And this is where I always get really confused with Jillian's argument. Sometimes she will say that it's a toxin in a fungus which causes disease. She'll blame everything on Candida. Now, in this one, she's saying that it's vaccines that will pass on diseases, and not just to you, but to your children. But it's a ticking time bomb, right? It's a lotto of who's actually going to be affected by these problems. So if you develop fibromyalgia, it could have been the vaccines that your mom took, right? Just... fuck. However, we need to look deeper and figure out how these viruses got introduced to a population. Everyone in the world comes into contact with trillions and trillions of microbes, fungi, bacteria, and viruses. Humanity does live on, and third world countries have not died off from lack of Western medicine. No, but their health rates are worse and their mortality rate is higher. This tells me someone, somewhere, is utilizing opportunistic fungi as a weapon, with deadly microbes attached, and those together are being purposely introduced to a very small population, enough to induce fear in larger population, justifying proactive methods like poisonous vaccines. I see. Okay. So the outbreak of measles in like Disneyland wasn't because of the anti-vax movement, and that people are so wingnutty about this that they take their kids to a place where disease can spread like wildfire, especially with people visiting from all across the world. That wasn't an accidental one, because we're lapsing on our preventative medicine. This was someone somewhere utilizing opportunistic fungi. And it's all propaganda to spur on the vaccine machine. So the book continues, and it keeps blathering on about that kind of shit. But she gets to a point where she talks about Candida and the AIDS virus. And she has this quoted few paragraphs from something that she doesn't even say where it's from. But it describes a really weird, bizarre, loose correlation between AIDS and fungi and a conspiracy surrounding it. So, listen to this. In essence, what I took from the paragraph above was the AIDS virus was intentionally introduced in the gay population in San Francisco, with a few straight people afflicted. Then it was mainstreamed by Magic Johnson, who survived it, and other celebrities who died from it, like Freddie Mercury. So at least thankfully Jillian is not an AIDS denialist, but she's an AIDS conspiracy theorist, thinking that AIDS was an intentional infection of people. And, like, I imagine with only a few straight people afflicted, I imagine the only reason she added that in there is because she wants to give some legitimacy to it, that it wasn't necessarily just the gay population. And then being mainstreamed by celebrities getting infected, are you saying that somebody intentionally was injecting celebrities with AIDS to make this into a bigger issue? What, to sell drugs? I mean, this is amazing. But just as quick as she deviated away from vaccines, we're back onto it again. Is it possible someone taint vaccines with different viruses? The answer is yes. Is it possible? I guess. Why? Anything is possible when humans are involved. Checks and balances do not always work, or we would live in a corrupt-free utopian society. If you understand how the human body works, the body does not just materialize a virus, and outbreaks do not just materialize in one human who is patient 0. The body doesn't just materialize a virus. Well, no. Viruses replicate so fast that they can evolve and mutate and change very rapidly. It's not that hard for a virus to, after billions and billions of generations, make that leap from being infectious only in an animal to now being infectious in a human. It's difficult, like, at the base level, but given how much this is replicating constantly and how much cell mutation is a natural part of biology and evolution in general, like, there's no great leap here. But Patient 0, tell me more about Patient 0. Patient Zero does not just materialize a virulent fungus, and people do not just get it airborne, unless it is a respiratory virus, but even then respiratory viruses are not deadly unless you have no immune system working for you at all. So because it doesn't just materialize out of nowhere, it has to be intentionally infected. I wonder if Jillian thinks any kind of infection whatsoever, any kind of virus, is just engineered by humanity. I also question bodily fluid exchanges, because if a virus is that communicable by common social interactions, whole cities would die off anywhere near Patient Zero and anyone who Patient Zero was in contact with. That's not necessarily true whatsoever. You have to understand a few important things about viruses. Just because a virus can be transmitted through fluids doesn't necessarily mean that that's an indestructible virus. Like take, for instance, the AIDS virus. The AIDS virus is passed through bodily fluid exchanges, but at the same time, if you expose it to open air, that virus dies. And besides, well, what do you think goes on in regular cities? That we just go walking around spitting into each other's mouths? I don't understand. Like, whole cities would die off? What? Our food supply is riddled with heavy metals like high fructose corn syrup, which is a derivative of mercury. You think we get high fructose corn syrup from mercury? We get high fructose corn syrup from corn. Genetically modified foods, GMOs, can have certain virus triggers once it latches onto Candida overload. Citation needed, please. That is not a thing. That has never been a thing. That doesn't exist. What? Okay, so the book drifts away from the wingnut ideas of what biology actually is, and it starts getting into even more interesting conspiracy theories. For one, Jillian likes to crap on what she calls the allopathic industry, which is just the medical industry in general. And then she also likes to crap on the holistic industry, and it gets pretty interesting when she rants about it. Little did I realize the holistic industry practices the same methods because they are licensed professionals with schooling and other credentials backed by the US government. And see, this is part of her argument why you have to believe Jillian, why you have to trust Jillian, not anybody else, not in these other industries. No, only Jillian, because there are people who work in holistics and they get certifications or they get like licensed through a website or something like that. She believes that this is part of a government control of people's health. Even more so, she gets to a point where she talks about how probiotics sold by the holistic industry are intentionally engineered to only be 50% effective. That way, you have to keep going to them, and they can keep pushing their conspiracy alternative health. Yeah. And just as soon as it started and talking about this conspiracy in that industry, it's gone, and we're talking about really, really crazy wingnut stuff again with Candida. So check this out. Biotechnology knows the fungus Candida has a brain of its own, and it influences thought processes in people who are overloaded with Candida, and thought processes manifest into actions. Candida does not have a brain of its own. There's no such thing as a fungi with a brain. That's not a thing. They do not develop a brain. Fungi are incredible and mysterious. They're one of the most interesting organisms on the planet. It's a kingdom of itself. They're not plants, they're fungi. Rules are very different for them, but there is still no such thing as a fungi that has a brain. No. When fungus attacks the brain and little virus microbes attached to the fast-multiplying Candida, psychological issues manifest like paranoia, fear, anxiety, mental illness, mental instability, homicidal, suicidal, and even criminal behavior. That's right. Do you have a phobia? Are you depressed? Do you feel weird and alienated? Maybe even slightly suicidal? Have you ever looked at a guy and said, "I want to kill you"? That's all because Candida has attached itself to your brain, and it is now intentionally driving you to destructive behavior. This is a direct result from the fungus attacking the brain, which in turn affects adrenal gland secretions. The brain is a lot more complicated than just the endocrine system and pumping adrenaline, your fight or flight mechanisms kicking in. It's way more complicated than that, and if you believe that all mental illness can stem from a disruption in your adrenal gland secretions, you don't know what you're talking about. Constant victims or domestic violence have fungus attacking their adrenal glands, which result in their fight-or-flight hormones not working correctly. Violent criminals have no fear, and their adrenal glands are overproducing adrenaline when triggered. Called it. These triggers manifest from experiences in a person's life, and the Candida remembers them. Hang on. These triggers that are created because the Candida has affected your brain are manifesting from your memories, your past experiences, and the fungus in your body remembers them and is causing you to be upset and commit crimes, I guess. The Candida processes those memories and the hormones, and that is how society and people get triggered by hot-button issues. Don't like Trump? Don't like Hillary? Not your fault. You're just being triggered by your past traumas, and the fungus in your body is remembering those traumas, and it's making your adrenaline pump, and that's why you're upset. So, it's not your fault. Humans and fungus learn routines very quickly. If a person overrides their Candida with new information that makes sense, and they can changes their routines, they also can change how their Candida manifests. So, you got all these problems in life, you just gotta reprogram your fungus, man. That's the way to fix it. Okay, so next she's going to be talking about proper applications of her juice. And this is part of when she started her diet and the problems that she was having with it. And she talks about poop. I noticed I had a lot of constipation, and I had to manipulate my own anal glands to be rid of the poop and make myself poop. Your own anal glands? How many anal glands do you have? Enemas and colonics are fine. Just use my juice, and douche with my juice. Use my juice topically and ingest, and use it in ears, eyes, nose, and nebulizer with my juice, as long as you strain the pieces. When you're talking about having to pull poop out of your own butt, can you please not talk about straining pieces? I mean, far be it for me to try and salvage this book, because it is awful. It's horribly written, it makes no sense, it bounces back and forth and repeats the same shit over and over and over again. But as a helpful tip to you, Jillian, when you're talking about poop, don't ever include the words strain the pieces in the same paragraph. Also, maybe you should have some paragraphs, because there's no paragraph breaks in this. It's awful. If you use the digital method, I use warm water in the tub to get it stimulated. Use your fingers and pull and massage. Get as deep as you can. Because if you have tons of poop in your intestines, you will feel a little sensitive pain, like a stomach ache. Yeah, when you really need to poop, it hurts. God damn it. I pulled that poop out and dumped it into the toilet, hoping my husband did not notice. I sterilized the tub with bleach afterwards. Brilliant. Brilliant writing, Jillian. I have to applaud your decision to include a short story of your manipulating, massaging, and inserting your fingers into your rectum to pull your poop out of your own butt and throw it into the toilet. Especially like how you tried to hide it from your husband, not like he's ever going to read your book, and how you had to sterilize the tub because you got it all shitty. Oh, but wait, we're not done talking about all the wacky shit that Jillian does to herself. Oh no. Whoa. Recurring yeast infections happen when the Candida is upset and fighting back. Aw, poor Candida. Give it some ice cream. I used garlic oil up the birth canal externally, along with coconut oil frozen in pellets. I was heavily fatigued, irritable, and bloated, as well as needed to sleep a lot. Also, I dealt with hemorrhoids that did not go away for a few weeks, but they did not get so bad because I used garlic oil up my anal cavity. So I froze coconut oil in little thick dots and shoved it up there. Though I since found out I can use my fermented cabbage leaf rolled up and stuck in the birth canal. This is one fucked up salad. So my ferment juice works in the anal region and the birth canal, along with using it topical and for wound management. So your salty cabbage water is effective in the asshole and in the vagu. Ugh. Great. Alright, so we're almost done, but the very last chapter is chapter 9. Belief systems, mainstream media, and mind control. When you have professionals and families who pass down belief systems, habits, routines, culture, the mainstream media, along with academia, reinforce those belief systems, you will have small communities with one police station and several oncology clinics on one street corner. Yeah, I suppose, but you have many cops in a police station versus maybe 1 or 2 doctors in a clinic. Like, what is that even supposed to prove? This alone should tell you what they're normalizing. We don't want crime and we don't want cancer. Yeah. Crime bad, cancer bad. Safety good, and doctors good. Yeah? Oh, what a conspiracy. When we have so much political divisions, different sexual orientations, and cultures clashing with each other, this is a sign of mass mind control on an exponential level. So political partisanship, being gay, and cultures not getting along is a sign of mass mind control. Okay, alright. That's, kind of offensive, actually, especially on the gay part. Whew. What if the cultural division we experience today, such as sexual orientation and political ideologies, all were manufactured by one simple switch of the hormones based upon a strategic cocktail of ingredients in some of the vaccines with programmed microbes? I see. Okay. So being gay, being a Democrat or Republican, transgender, falling in line with some of your cultural heritage beliefs, this is all based on hormones that were programmed into a vaccine that you got. Sorry, all my gay friends. Actually, you were infected via vaccines, and that's why you love who you love, and you wanna sleep with who you wanna sleep with. Gotcha. Wow. What if the food supply kept these hormonal changes going until someone was smart enough to use a bacteria opposite of them to reverse the damage done? So it's our food, too. Our food is perpetuating this political partisanship, gay cultural agenda. Yeah, it's introduced with vaccines, and then it's kept going by food, and the only way to combat it is by drinking salty cabbage water, apparently. That's fucking brilliant. So you claim that your juice can cure the gay away. Anyway, that's pretty much the last little bit of interesting stuff. There's so much more in this book. If you have a strong mental constitution and you want to try and read it, by all means try and make it through. There's more that I could have added, but it would have taken forever to make many videos debunking every single thing in there. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. It's amazing. But it goes on to have really no decent conclusion. It repeats the same garbage over and over again, and then it's just that mess of links at the bottom. But yeah, no, I'm done. No more, man. This is it. I am never touching this book again.
Hey, man, no,
I'm
look,
done.
I understand you did a good job. Go play some video games.
Thank you. Bye, everybody. Jesus.
All right. Wow. That was wild. So, what's next for the whole saga of Jillian? Well, as I stated in episode 2, I really want to address some of the crazy concerns that's going on with this. People who have lost teeth, their hair's falling out in clumps, people who report constant amounts of what Jillian calls healing symptoms, which is, in effect, agony and pain and discomfort, probably because whatever is going on with their bodies is being exacerbated by violent explosive diarrhea. Go figure, that might kind of screw some people up. But as well, there's still the question of whether or not this Jilly Juice protocol has exacerbated and even accelerated the deaths of at least 2 people. There's the possibility of that. Absolutely. And I recently got to sit down and talk with a member of Bruce Wilmot's family via Facebook, and they shared their story with me. And for that, I want to dedicate as much time as I possibly can into looking into exactly what happened with Bruce, as well as all these other things that have been happening surrounding this crazy cult and the belief systems of their insane leader. So, for that purpose, we're going to have to do at least one more video. At least one more. There might be another one after that too. But Jillian, things have been changing up quite a bit for Jillian. You see, the Facebook group did get nuked. It's gone. And now that it has been gone, Jillian, on her public Facebook profile, has been complaining about the shortage of numbers. Probably because the only way you can get access to her website is by sending her money orders. She hasn't even set up a payment system yet. It's not hard. Oh, but there's rumors of other things in the work too. There's a possibility that Jillian might even be going on Dr. Phil. Well, I tell you what, that's definitely something that I want to see. It should be interesting. I'm sure she's going to spread her platform and see if she can share her message to the world. And we'll see what Dr. Phil has to say about that, as well as other people. So, stay tuned. With that being said, I've been Jeff Holiday. Thank you so much once again for bearing with me in A Song of Salt and Poo. This has been such a wild project, and it's still not done. And it's driving me insane. With all that being said, thank you so much for your attention. I hope you have a fantastic day. My best wishes to your family. Bye-bye. Take care.